The British Museum. Sub-Basement 3. Department of Anomalous Antiquities. My name is Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft, Senior Archivist, Custodian of Restricted Collections. What you are about to hear has been recovered from sealed files, letters, journals, and testimonies once thought too disturbing for public record. Every statement you hear is drawn from Britain's forgotten centuries, the whispered history that hides between faith and fear. These are the National Occult Archives, filed, preserved, never closed. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file, NOA 551P, classification, papermaker's account. Date of statement, 3rd April, 1551. Location, Canterbury. Author, Robert Pulp. Papermaker. Account Y, Robert Pulp, maker of paper. Do record what happened when I created paper that absorbs words from nearby books. My trade is papermaking, preparing pulp from linen rags, forming sheets, creating surfaces suitable for writing. I supply scribes, printers, and scholars throughout Kent. A librarian commissioned special paper. He wanted paper that would resist ink bleeding, that would hold writing perfectly. I created paper with very tight fiber structure, dense and smooth. But the paper did more than resist bleeding. It absorbed, not ink. It absorbed words from books stored near it. Blank sheets placed on library shelves began filling with text. Not written text, but absorbed text, pulled from neighboring books, filed away in the blank paper. The librarian was amazed. The paper is copying books by itself, he said. It reads what is near it and preserves the content. I examined the phenomenon. The paper absorbed any text within arm's reach. Place blank sheet near book, and within hours that book's words appeared on the sheet. The paper was archiving its neighbors, filing away nearby content, preserving surrounding texts. The librarian wanted more. Imagine, he said, we could copy entire libraries without scribes. Just place blank paper near books and let the paper preserve itself. I made more absorbing paper, hundreds of sheets. The librarian placed them throughout his library. Within a week, every blank sheet was filled with text absorbed from nearby books. But the paper did not stop absorbing. It continued pulling words from books, layering text upon text, overwriting previous absorptions with new ones. The sheets became unreadable. Too many words, too much absorbed content, too many preserved texts overlapping. Worse, the books were fading. As paper absorbed their words, the original text grew fainter. The paper was not copying, it was transferring. It pulled words from books into itself, filing them away in paper while removing them from their sources. The library was dying, books becoming blank, paper becoming overwritten, all content being absorbed, filed, and jumbled in paper that preserved too much. The librarian ordered the paper burned, but paper does not easily release absorbed words. Even burning, the sheets showed text in their smoke, in their ashes, in the air itself. The absorbed words were spreading, filing themselves into atmosphere, preserving in air what had been preserved in paper. Canterbury scholars still report seeing words in the air, text floating past, sentences drifting on wind, all the absorbed content released by burning, filed away in air itself, preserved in atmosphere that remembers what paper remembered. I make no more absorbing paper, but I wonder about all paper. Does it absorb slightly? Does every blank page pull words from nearby texts? Are we surrounded by paper that files away content, that preserves neighboring words, that archives what it encounters? Filed, preserved, never closed. The paper absorbs, the words transfer. The archive grows by consuming what it preserves. Robert Pulp, Papermaker, Canterbury, 3rd April, 1551. Archivist's note. Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft. Canterbury Library records show unexplained fading of manuscripts in mid-16th century. Many valuable texts lost most of their content. Contemporary librarians blamed poor ink or damaged parchment. Perhaps Robert's absorbing paper was responsible. Perhaps the archive consumed itself, filing content so thoroughly it removed it from original sources. I examine blank paper carefully now, watching for words that appear unbidden, checking for text absorbed from nearby documents. Because if paper can archive by absorption, then all blank pages are potential thieves. All empty sheets are hungry archives, waiting to file away whatever content comes near them. Case file, Noe 551p. Active under Parasitic Preservation Register. End of file. Proceeding to next recovered document. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file, NOA 1423H. Classification, Hourglass Maker's Notes. Date of statement, 16th September 1423. Location, Bristol. Author, Thomas Sandman, Hourglass Maker. Notes, I, Thomas Sandman, maker of hourglasses, do record what happened when I created the hourglass that measures the same hour repeatedly. My craft is making hourglasses, glass bowls filled with sand that measures time's passage. Each grain falling marks moment passing, making time visible and countable. A scholar commissioned precise hourglass. He wanted to measure exactly 1 hour, neither more nor less, for his experiments with alchemy. I created beautiful glass with very narrow neck, filled with specially sifted sand. The hourglass measured exactly 60 minutes as sand flowed from upper bulb to lower. But when the scholar flipped the hourglass to measure second hour, something strange occurred. He experienced the first hour again, not memory of it, actual repetition. Events from first hour replayed exactly during second hour. He brought the hourglass to me, confused. I conducted experiment during first hour, he said. When I flipped glass for second hour, I conducted same experiment again. Not intentionally, I simply found myself doing it, as though first hour was repeating. I tested the hourglass myself. I measured first hour doing simple tasks, writing letter, eating bread, walking around workshop. When I flipped the glass, I found myself repeating those exact tasks in exact order. The hour replayed itself. The measured time was not new time, but preserved time, filed time, archived hour being experienced again. The hourglass did not measure time passing. It measured time repeating. It filed away the hour it measured and replayed that filed hour whenever flipped. The sand preserved the time, archived the events, maintained complete record that manifested as repetition. The scholar was disturbed. I cannot use this, he said. I need to measure new hours, not repeat old ones. Your hourglass traps me in preserved time. I took the hourglass back. I tried breaking it, releasing the sand, ending its preservation. But the glass would not break. The sand could not be released. The hourglass had become permanent archive, maintaining its filed hour eternally. I sealed it in a box. But even boxed, the hourglass affects time nearby. People working in my shop report feeling they have done tasks before. Déjà vu, constantly. All time near the hourglass feels like repeated time, preserved time, file time, replaying endlessly. The hourglass sits in my cellar now, sealed, boxed, locked away, but still filing, still preserving, still maintaining its archived hour. And anyone near it experiences time as repetition, as preserved loop, as filed sequence playing again and again, filed, preserved, never closed. The hourglass measures the same hour forever. Time becomes loop. The archive replays eternally. Thomas Sandman, Hourglass Maker. Bristol, 16th September, 1423. Archivist note, Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft. Bristol craftsman records confirm Thomas Sandman made hourglasses 1410 through 1430. His workshop location later abandoned due to strange atmosphere and sense of repetition. If the hourglass remains there, sealed in cellar, it may still be replaying its archived hour, filing the same 60 minutes eternally, preserving time as loop rather than progression. I wonder if all hourglasses preserve slightly, if all time-measuring devices file what they measure, if all attempts to track time create time archives that replay measured moments. Perhaps this is why time sometimes feels repeated, why hours seem familiar, why moments feel filed away and replayed rather than genuinely new. Case file, Noe 1423H. Active under temporal loop register. End of file. Proceeding to next recovered document. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file, NOA 11667S classification. Soapmaker's record. Date of statement, 21st May 1667. Location, London. Author, Mistress Anne Cleanwell, soapmaker. Record why Anne Cleanwell, maker of soap. Do record what happened when I created soap that washes away not dirt but memory. My trade is soap making, rendering fat, mixing with lye, creating soap for washing. I make soap for households, laundries, anyone needing clean clothes and clean bodies. A physician commissioned special soap. He wanted soap for patients with traumatic memories, soap that could clean not just bodies but minds, soap that could wash away painful thoughts. I created soap with herbs known for calming, lavender, chamomile, rosemary. I spoke prayers over the mixture, asking that it cleanse completely, that it wash away all that troubled users. The soap worked too well. When patients washed with it, they lost not just traumatic memories, but all memories. The soap washed away their entire past, filing their memories into soapy water that drained away, preserving nothing. The physician was horrified. They remember nothing, he said. Not their names, not their families, not their lives. The soap removed everything. I tested the soap myself, carefully, using just a small amount. I washed my hands and felt memories leaving me, not violently, but gently, draining away with the water, being filed into the drain, preserved nowhere I could access. I stopped using the soap immediately, but the memories I had washed away were gone. 10 minutes of my past, filed into water, preserved in drainage, archived in sewers where I could never retrieve them. The physician destroyed his supply of memory soap, but he could not restore his patients' lost pasts. Their memories were filed in water, preserved in drains, archived in sewers beneath London. Perhaps they still exist there, floating in darkness, all the forgotten lives filed away by soap that cleaned too thoroughly. I make no more memory soap, but I wonder about all soap. Does it wash away tiny portions of memory? Do we lose small moments each time we clean ourselves? Are sewers full of forgotten memories, filed away by washing, preserved in water that carries away not just dirt, but bits of past? Filed, preserved, never closed, but unreachable, archived in drains. Memories washed away by soap that files them where they cannot be retrieved. Anne Cleanwell, soapmaker, London, 21st May, 1667. Archivist's note. Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft. London physician records show several patients admitted 1667 with complete amnesia. Contemporary doctors blamed fever or head injury. Perhaps Anne's memory soap was responsible. If memories are filed in sewers, then beneath London flows archive of forgotten pasts, of washed-away experiences, of preserved moments that no one can access. Complete archive that no one can read. Perfect preservation that no one can retrieve. This is the nightmare of archiving, filing so thoroughly that retrieval becomes impossible, preserving so completely that access is lost, maintaining so perfectly that what is maintained becomes unreachable. Case file, Noe 1667, S. Active under Inaccessible Archive Register. End of file. Proceeding to next recovered document. The following document was never intended for public release. Case file, NOA 544B. Classification, Bell Founder's Account. Date of statement, 7th October 1544. Location, Norwich. Author, John Bellwright. Bell Founder, Account Y. John Bellwright, founder of bells. Do record what happened when I cast the bell that rings in the past. My trade is casting bells, melting bronze, pouring into moulds, creating bells for churches throughout Norfolk. Each bell has unique voice, unique tone, unique character. A church commissioned large bell for their tower. They wanted bell that could be heard throughout the village, calling people to service, marking hours, announcing events. I cast the bell carefully, using finest bronze, creating perfect shape for clear tone. When we rang it for first time, the sound was beautiful, deep, resonant, carrying far. But we noticed something strange. People in village heard the bell before we rang it. They reported hearing it ring 5 minutes early, as though the bell's sound travelled backwards through time. We tested this carefully. We rang the bell at precise times, checking with village witnesses. All confirmed. They heard the bell several minutes before we rang it. The sound was arriving in the past before being created in the present. The bell was filing its sound backwards. It preserved its ring before ringing, archived its tone before toning, maintained its voice in time earlier than when it actually spoke. The church was troubled. How can bell announce events before they occur? The priest asked. How can it call people to service before service is scheduled? I tried to modify the bell, to change its temporal properties, but nothing worked. The bell rang backwards through time, filing its sound in the past, preserving its voice before using it. The church installed the bell despite its peculiarity, and now Norwich has bell that rings 5 minutes early, that announces things before they happen, that files away its sound in past before creating it in present. People have learned to trust it. When bell rings, they know something will happen 5 minutes later. The bell preserves the future, files away what is coming, archives events before they occur. It is clock that runs ahead, warning system that sounds before danger arrives, archive that stores tomorrow today. Filed, preserved, never closed. The bell rings in the past. The future is archived before occurring. Time files itself backwards through bronze voice. John Bellwright, bell founder, Norwich, 7th October 1544. Archivist's note: Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft, Norwich Church records confirm bell, installed 1544. Local histories mention the bell that rings early and the warning bell that speaks before events. If bell genuinely rings backwards through time, it archives future before future becomes present. It files tomorrow today. It preserves what has not yet occurred, making it accessible before it happens. This is ultimate archive. Preservation of future, filing of what is coming, maintenance of events before they manifest. Not record of past, but record of future. Not historical archive, but prophetic archive. Not filed memory, but filed prophecy. Perhaps this is what all archives attempt: to file not just what was, but what will be. To preserve not just past, but future. To maintain not just memory, but possibility. Case file NOA Feen 44 B. Active under Precognitive Archive Register. End of file. Case closed to public record. The original document remains sealed within the vaults of the British Museum. Further access requires written authorization or curiosity strong enough to ignore the warnings. Until next time, these are the National Occult Archives.